And for me, it came very naturally. I really enjoyed it. I found it I picked it up nice and easy. It was just something I found a lot of enjoyment from. So it was that first and foremost, just the sort of the natural ease at which it sort of came. And then of course you've got other guys who are playing with you, and then you got the bigger competitions, and you get to meet bands from other areas. I mean, I thought that was amazing. I mean, because we I was in the band for a little while before we went to a competition. I saw the other guys playing the drums. I was like, oh my god, these guys are just out of this world. So from that moment on, I was just totally hooked. I was like, this is brilliant, you know. So it was the competitions that really made it for me.
And what other things did you do with Northampton?
So with Northampton Scout Band,
yeah.
You mean? Right,
yeah.
So we did all kinds of things. So we'd do, obviously, rehearsals every week, we'd do parades, we'd do competitions, we'd do all kinds of things. But on a personal, I used to love the sort of solo snare drum competitions that used to run as well. I mean, they were just so great. The talent that people had, you know, and just... you know, you mean, I don't know, I would love to know what they're doing now. It was, you know, because there were some incredible drummers and musicians in those days, you know, and I'm sure there still are in the system now.
When did you realise that drumming was what you wanted to do as a full-on paid career?
Yeah, I actually discovered that quite late on, actually. I think I was in year 11 or the first year of sixth form when I thought, you know what, you're getting towards the end of school now, and, you know, there's not much else happening. I could speak a bit of French, and that was about it. You know, I was sort of fairly middle of the road academic-wise. So I remember really thinking, oh my god, right, this might be the only option for me. So I had quite, you know, a lot of experience at that point, but I knew it was never going to be enough. So I think when I was about 15, 16, which is quite late for some people who are, you know, who want to do it as a career. So I think that's quite late to sort of decide. And I remember just sort of locking myself in practice rooms for days, and well, obviously not days and days, but in the mornings and after schools, and just really, really taking the time to do it properly. I think that was a big transition. But I was only, it was quite late. I was about 15, 16, I think. That's when I decided. And I mean, it was the best decision I ever made. You know, it's amazing to, you know, it's a very hard industry to be in, of course. You know, it's one of the hardest. But it's ultimately the most rewarding thing to be doing when you're, you know, doing a hobby as your job. You know, it's the most enjoyable thing you could do, I think.
How hard was it to get to the point where you just finished school in sixth form to be now, you know, touring with one of probably the best known shows in the country?
Yeah, it's a really, like you say, it's a very, very difficult industry to be in, and you do meet lots of incredible musicians who somehow never make it, and I always wonder why that is. You know, some do and some don't. It's incredible how the world works. But it was very difficult, actually. And when I left school, you know, after my A-levels, I don't know what age that is, 17, must be 18, 19, I auditioned for music colleges, and I didn't get in anywhere. I didn't get any offers, nothing. So I had to go back and do another year of kind of practice and preparation. And then eventually I got an offer from the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama in Glasgow, which is where I studied and lived for sort of 5-6 years. But it's extremely hard, because you can be the best player in the world, or the most average player in the world, but you know, unless you're knocking on people's doors and letting them know and doing the networking and things like that, it's really impossible to break into the world. I mean, I got a very, very lucky break to jump on this sort of show, this world that I'm now living in, because that's what I really wanted to do. I studied to be a classical player. That's my degree at college, but I fell in love with the drums and percussion and sort of the pop world and the musical stuff. I just sort of fell in love with it. So I caught a lucky break to get in on this. It was literally a case of a guy was leaving, and I went and sat in with him the week before he did. And a friend of mine who was in the band, she recommended me, and I got a shot at, you know, playing the show for real. And that was it. I just caught a lucky break, you know. But you've got to match up opportunity, luck, and practice. You have to join those things together. You know, they go hand in hand. You know, you can have all the luck and all the opportunity in the world, but if you've not put in the work in to make the most of that opportunity, it's going to go by you. So it was lucky that all the three things kind of met for me all in the one time. It was lucky. Yeah.
And how did that work, and the skills you gained during those first years in the Scout Band? How do they sort of transformed now? How do they become part of your day-to-day job?
Yeah, well, the day-to-day job, I mean, it goes back further. So the Scout Band, I mean, when I started from, like I said, when I was 9 years old, and I took those, what I thought were quite normal, you know, based in the world of marching band drumming. I saw the guys playing, and I was like, I'm quite average here, really. I'm quite middle of the road again. But I took those skills to the county music service, where I'd play snare drum in, I don't know, a symphony or something. And it became very apparent that actually what I'd learned from the Scout Band was way above any of the stuff that the kids at my county service had at that stage. And that was a big surprise. So I'm always so grateful to the Scout Band for giving me that start, because, you know, and on a day-to-day basis now, the skills transfer from snare drum to timpani to xylophone to, you know, even the very, very basic wrist movements can, you know, transfer to congas and bongos and things like that. So, which is what I do now on a day-to-day basis. So it really all does come right back to the roots of that Scout Band. The very first Thursday night when I went along and, you know, started getting those wrists working, you know, it really does had a massive impact on my entire career, going to the Scout Band.
And so what would you say to any young members of bands now who are starting to think about careers and things? What would you say to them?
I'd say don't be disillusioned. It's really hard, but you know, you've got to go for it 100%, because if music is what you love, and, you know, most of the time people who are doing that sort of thing, it's part of their life, you know, you just got to go for it. You've got to go for it with everything you've got, because you know, if you can do it as a living, it's the most rewarding thing, and you get to meet really cool people, you get to spend time in amazing places, seeing amazing things. So I would definitely recommend anybody, you've got to do it. If you're doing enough practice now, you got to do some more. Do another half an hour a day, and you know, you will get there, because it's the most rewarding thing you could ever do.